Okay, to all my friends at home, this morning in the concept development, I was recording with my homeroom. This afternoon, I'm recording with Mrs. Baxter's homeroom. So we welcome you back with us. We want to make it like you're in school with us, okay? So we're doing the problem set page for lesson 16. We're going to kind of do it together. Once in a while, I'm going to let you do one on your own. If you're confused, you're watching the video, remember you can toggle back and forth between your template on Seesaw and the video on Seesaw and go back and forth to make sure you're completing your problem set accurately. Okay? So, simple directions, just says complete. We've got a bunch of multiplication division sentences. Remember our learning target was to reason about multiplying and dividing with units of 1 and 0. Just let's come back here and see, bring to our attention these patterns. 1 times any number, our answer will be that number. Any number times 1, our answer will be that number. Remember this is called 1 and the same. So you have one number that's 1, the other two numbers that have to be the same. One number that's 1, the other two numbers have to be the same. One number that's 1, even in division, the other two numbers have to be the same. When we come down to our patterns for our zeros, it looks a little different. Now, if one number is 0, another number has to be 0, and we will have 2 zeros in each equation. What we learned just a little bit ago is, though, we cannot have n divided by 0 equals 0. It is impossible, because when you multiply anything times 0, your answer has to be 0. Okay? So let's go through this. I'll think a lot. I'm going to do a couple, then I'm going to give you a few minutes to do these on your own. Okay? So, keeping in mind, 1 and the same. What times 1 equals 6? Well, I've got a 1, so my other two numbers have to be the same. So my answer will be 6. Okay, my next one, and these are kind of hard for me to read. I think that's a division sign, right? So what divided by 7 equals 0? Well, let's look down here. I think that's this pattern right here. What will our answer be, Madison? Yep, 0 divided by 7 equals 0. And if you turn it around to a multiplication equation, it makes sense. 0 times 7 equals 0. Okay, how about the next one? I think I'll just pull sticks. C. 8 times what equals 8? What will go in there? Isaac, oh, this is going to be a problem because there's so many people in here. Thomas. Read, we're on C. Read the whole fact. 8 times what?
8 times 1 equals 8.
Very good. 8 times 1 equals 8. If I remember 1 and the same. You see a 1, the other two numbers are the same. So if you have two numbers that are the same, you know your missing number in the number sentence has to be 1. Okay, the next one. 9 divided by what equals 9? Amelia's not here. Henry's not here. Quinn's not here. I better pull all these out. Celia is not here. Hunter, yay, Hunter. Go ahead and read the number sentence and fill in what goes in there. 9. Very good. 9 divided by 1 equals 9. How do we know that? Because we've got 1 and the same. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do the next 4. On your own. Remember, those who do the work? Yes. Okay, you're just waiting for me to fill in the answers. You're not really doing the thinking. You got them open at class. Excellent. 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 All right, Kevin already has those all done. Put your hand on your head when you're all done. Nice. Okay, I guess we could. Nathan, go ahead and do E for us. Read the whole sentence. Very good. If one number is 0, then we have to have at least one other 0 in the number sentence. How about F for us? Carson's not here. Lily. Okay, I'm going to pick somebody else since you're not at your seat. Sorry. Ryan.
0
Yep, that's gotta be 0 times 0 equals 0. How about G, Madison? Oh, I'm doing it. Very good, we've got 1, so our other two numbers need to be the same. And then last but not least, Edith, read the whole number sentence for us. 3 times 1 equals 3. Okay, I'm feeling generous. I don't have to correct these, so I'm going to let you draw lines, okay? So I'll do the first one for you. We have these mice that have number sentences with an n in there, a variable. We have to decide what the variable will be. So if I see 1 times n equals 3, my 1 factor is 1. I know my other two numbers have to match. So in this one, n must equal 3. And so I'm going to draw my line to n equals 3. There are 5 more. Go ahead and do those other 5 items. Oh, letters is fine. We can do letters too. Now this one is different. We've got two numbers that are the same. All right, hand on your head if you're done with all those. Very good. All right, let's keep pulling sticks. Luke Legier, we got n divided by 4 equals 0. What will that n, should that n be? It should be 0. Yep, right there. If you want to do the letters, that would be. The next one, 1 times 6 equals n. What will that n equal, Hannah? Yep, n equals 6. So I can draw my line. Or if you're doing letters like Ryan, we would just put a C in that. How about 7 divided by 7 equals n? Gavin. Will that n equal? 1. N equals 1. Why? Because I've got two numbers that are the same, so my other one has to be 1. Nice job. We're going to put a D in there. These are doing letters. N times 1 equals 9. Oh, these are so easy. Devon. With this one, what will n equal? Yep, because we have 1 and we want our other two numbers to be the same. And put in here. And then our last one, n divided by 1 equals 8. I sure hope my answer is what, Kendall? N equals 8, and then whatever. How do I know? Because if I have a 1, my other two numbers need to be the same. Okay? Let's go to the next section. Kendall. Can you do me a favor and slide that up? Yes. You got that one all done too? Okay. So the next one is a pattern, because believe it or not, our zeros and ones are all patterns. And that's what we've been concentrating on a lot on these last few lessons, is all the patterns we see in the arithmetic table, or the multiplication table. So, it says let n be a number. Complete the blanks below with the products. Okay? Well, I'm going to read through these. You guys tell me what to be. 1 times 1 classes. 2 times 1 is. 3 times 1 is. 4 times 1 is. 5 times 1 is. 6 times 1 is. 7 times 1 is. 8 times 1 is. 9 times 1 is. 9. Okay, just looking at these, what do you notice? They all have a 1. And what do you notice about the other two numbers? They're the same. 1 and the same. Okay, well what if I have n times 1? My answer will be n. Good job, guys. Because if one of my numbers is 1, the other two numbers have to be the same. N equals. Let's turn to the next page. Nice job, Lizzie. Oh yeah, what pattern do you notice? Thank you, Lily. We were supposed to write a pattern we noticed. Gavin. I don't think they, yeah, I guess the product goes up by 1 each time. What else? So you're looking more at this, right? You're saying this goes up by 1 each time. But what else do you notice if you're looking down at the multiplication backs, Ellie? Okay, very good. You're seeing 1 and the same. That's the one I'd really like to concentrate on. So the pattern I see is 1 and the same. So let's go ahead and write that. What pattern do you notice? I notice 1 and the same. And I hope everybody understands that when we write it. We see 1 and the same. We see 1 and the same. We see 1 and the same. Even over here we see 1 and the same. Okay? Alright, let's turn to the next page. Thank you. Kendall, we might look at that. Thank you, Lily. Keeping me honest. Slide it down a little bit more, honey. A little bit more, because we want to see more. Yeah, I can always have you go back and move it up. And then, can I tell you how to focus it? Let me teach you something else. So go over the Elmo. And on the very end, where you can zoom in and out, on the other side, honey, on the top. On the top part. Nope, on the top. The long arm. Okay. And there's a black knob that you can turn to zoom in and out. But I want you to hit the middle of that. There's a button. Hit the middle of it. And when you hit that, it's supposed to bring it into focus. Okay? Alright, so let's look at this. Josie says that any number divided by 1 equals that number. Any number divided by 1 equals that number. Write a division equation using n to represent Josie's statement. So think about what Josie's saying. Any number, Tommy, I want you to do that. Any number divided by 1 equals that number. Nathan, I want you to quit playing and pay attention to people's names. I want you doing that on your own. Think about what I'm saying. Any number divided by 1 equals that number. Right there. You know it's a division equation, right? Because I said any number divided by 1. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got to write a division equation. Any number divided by 1 equals that number. But you have to use, they want you to use n. Don't hurt it. Don't hurt it. Very good. You got it. So, think about it. I think you have it. Any number. And what do they want us to use for any number? N. You got it. Close. Any number. Guys, look over here. Any number. Any number. Divided by 1 equals that number. What is the number? That's what they wanted you to see. Any number, one more time, any number divided by 1 equals that number. That's the pattern they wanted you to write. Does that make sense? Okay, let's look at B. Use your equation from part A Let n equal 6. So we want this to be 6. Write a new equation and draw a picture to show that your equation is true. So first of all, I want you to go ahead and rewrite this, but substitute 6 for n. So write your number sentence first. Let's go Nathan and that's what we're doing with that. So write it down here. It's part B. Try again. So all you're doing is taking this number sentence. Devon, anybody, look up here. You're taking this number sentence and you're letting n equal 6. You want n equal to 6. So just substitute. Yes. Nope, not quite. Yeah. Let n equal 6. Here's my n, right? What am I going to substitute for n? 6. Divided by 1. Here's another n. What am I going to use for this? Every time you have n, you're going to substitute 6. Okay. Very good. Now let's draw a picture for that, okay, that shows that. We want 6 to be our total, right? And we want, how about 1 in each group? So what picture could we draw for that? Why not make 6? That's my number of groups. What will the set? Put 1 in each group. And if I have 6 and I divide it 1 in each group, I will get 6. Or if I have 6 groups and I want a total of 1, I would use here. Now, write the related multiplication equation that you can use to check your division. Well, let's write a multiplication equation for this. How many groups are there?
6.
Nathan, I'm not going to ask you again. How many groups are there?
6.
We need to write a multiplication equation. What's the size of each group?
1.
And what's our total?
6.
There you go. There's a picture. For 6 divided by 1 equals 6, it's also a picture of 6 groups of 1 equals 6. How do we feel about that? That's the concept behind 1 and the... Kendall, you want to slide that up and we'll do number 5. Can we just go back to this for a second? Could I also have drawn this picture? Yeah, I could have, couldn't I? Yeah. And my multiplication equation for this one wouldn't be 6 times 1. What would it be? It would be 1 times 6 equals 6. Does everybody see how both of those show? This is 1 equal group of 6 equals 6. This is 6 equal groups of 1 equals 6. Please draw both of those. Remember, boys and girls, if I'm doing something on the board, it's probably a good idea for you to do it in your workbooks as well. Thank you. How do we feel about that? Good? All right, let's go to 5. Matt explains what he learned about dividing with 0 to his little sister. Okay? What might Matt tell his sister about solving 0 divided by 9.
It always equals 0.
Thank you. It always equals 0. Thank you. I wish you had raised your hand. What might he tell her? He'll tell her it always equals 0. Now the problem is, Tommy, you have to explain. So when we explain, does anybody know the word we use when we start to explain? Gavin's the only one. We want to explain that. What word would we use? Right. No? It always equals 0. Thank you, Luke, Legier, because when you explain, you want to use the word because. Thank you, bud. 0 divided by any number is 0. Now I'll give you a minute to write this. So when it says explain, what word are we going to use? Because. Yes. Well, I can help you write, but you're going to have to learn to write small. All right, now, here we go. What might Matt tell his sister about solving 8 divided by 0? You might want to talk it through. You just did it. This is really important. I'll talk with you. What might Matt tell his sister about 8 divided by 0? Would it be 0? Would you take 0 times 0 and 8? It would be 8 times 0 would be.
So she said
So 8 times 0 would be. So can you do this? Yeah, can you do it? No, I meant can you do 8 times 0? What do you think? What is Matt going to tell his sister about solving 8 divided by 0? Gavin. Wait, what is he going to tell her? No, but how about 8 divided by 0? What is he going to tell his sister about 8 divided by 0? Kendall. Thomas. You can't do it. You can't do it. We're going to explain why. So, what might you tell his sister about solving 8 divided by 0? You can't do it. Why? Nathan, let's pay attention. because. Think about it. Can you take 0 times any number and get 8? That's why you can't multiply 0 times anything and get 8. So we're going to say, why? Because you can't multiply 0 times anything. And that. So really, the way to think about it is, think of the related multiplication fact. There is no number that you can put blank times 0 equals 8, is there? So if we wrote blank times 0 equals 8, this is impossible. The only answer you would be able to get would be 0. Who said 0? The only answer you'd be able to get is 0, so that's impossible. And then there's one more, and I want you guys to kind of think about that, and then we'll go over our morning work. I'll give you a second to copy that. I like the way Ryan's looking at the next one. What might Matt tell his sister about solving 0 divided by 0? So talk about it in your groups. I don't want just one person coming up with it. Because once you start talking, you might come up with a better answer, because have you ever heard the expression 2 heads is better than 1, or 3 heads is better than 1? What's he going to say about solving 0 divided by 0? Start throwing some answers in there. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? So it could be 0. Can you plug anything else in there? What do you guys think? Do you guys know? No, you can have a two stuff. What do you think about 0 divided by 0? If you were Matt, you were telling me so this answer will always be 0. How many think the answer will always be 0? It's always going to be 0? What if I told you that's not right? You can come up with an answer where it would not be 0. You're right, 0 could be one answer. Well, we could always put n, you could always put what?
Any number.
Any number, there you go, Ryan. Oh my gosh, that's what I love about you, bud. So, yeah, you're right. One answer is 0. Think about it, boys and girls. When you look at a division equation, the best way to analyze it is to turn it into a multiplication equation. So if we have 0 divided by 0, we can certainly write 0 divided by 0 equals 0, can't we? Does that make sense? But, think about turning it around. What if we put blank times 0 equals 0? What number could we put in there? We could put any number. So the answer to 0 by 0, 0 divided by 0, boys and girls, can be any number. That's what you would need to explain to your sister if you were Matt. So, we're going to write. What might Matt tell his sister about solving 0 divided by 0? He would say, It can, you need to write this, be any number. If you need to. And I would make sure I write these two number sentences. Because isn't this that division sentence written backwards? And when you write it like this, it's really easy to see. You can put 5 in there. 5 times 0, 0. You could put 72 in here, couldn't you? Because 72 times 0 is 0. You could put 1 in here. Why? Because 1 times 0 is 0. So I kind of like your idea. That's one of our patterns. One of our patterns is 0 divided by n equals 0. So one of the numbers can be any number in the world. Okay? All right, so friends at home, please make sure you watch the video. Get all that completed in your workbook and submit it. We're going to go over our morning work right now, okay?